Hey everyone, I'm Jenna Cooper with the Oregon State Fair, and today we have a great treat for you. We are talking with Gerry Frank, who has been judging the chocolate cake contest at the Oregon State Fair for 60 years. So take a listen and you might learn a thing or two about what it takes to make a winning cake. Thank you so much for talking with us today. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Anything to do with the Oregon State Fair is close to my heart.
Oh, well, we of course enjoy having you come and judge the chocolate cake contest every year, and you've been doing it for 60 years now?
Well, you might be interested in how it all got started. Mark Hatfield, who was a United States Senator and Governor, knew that I was interested in the fair and knew that I was interested in chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, well, Gerry, if I get elected, and I was the chair of his campaign, and he said, if I get elected, I'm going to ask the State Fair Commission to appoint you the judge of the chocolate cake division. But I said, that sounds great to me. I'm all for it. So the first year, it was all done in the back room, and there were 5 entries. So it wasn't much of a show. But time passes. We had 60 years of chocolate cake contest, and I have here the number of entries from every year. It varied from 3 entries up to 115, and you can imagine tasting 115 cakes, and I took a couple of bites of each one out of the frosting and one out of the cake itself. So we had in the 60 years 2,422 cakes. You can imagine how many calories and how much Pepto-Bismol I consumed with all of that.
So the biggest year was 115 entries?
No, the biggest year was 123.
Wow.
And that was in 1984 because it had 11 past winners in addition, so there were actually 134 in that year.
Wow. And so you had to taste them all?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I took 2 bites of each, and Olga, my assistant, was one of those who cut the cakes, and the audience got bigger and bigger. Kind of several interesting things happened. When I got finished judging and decided on the winners, I had no idea who the names were, who did the cakes. So we would unseal the label on the cake, and when this particular year the cake winner was recognized, it was a lady by the name of Hatfield. And I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to be in trouble. They have, he was then governor.
Mm-hmm.
They have the governor's family involved. Well, it so happened that it was not any relation.
Oh, good.
So we escaped that one. Then another time, I think probably my most favorite cake is 7-layer chocolate cake. Well, one year I noticed that this particular 7-layer cake was wonderful. So I was all ready to give it first prize. And I looked down at the plate, and the plate belonged to me. And the lady who had made it was my cook.
Oh, no.
And so I disqualified her. Well, she didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
And it took 6 months after that for her to make another 7-layer chocolate cake for me.
Oh, she missed you.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what do you look for in a cake? Like why, like that 7-layer cake? What was?
Well, you look for the true chocolate taste. You look for freshness. And you look for moisture. All the complaints that I would have when people ask me, well, why didn't I win? Well, the reason is the cake is dry. That a chocolate cake should be very moist. And dark chocolate is far better than light chocolate.
For baking?
Yes.
Yeah, or just across the board?
Well, I think across the board.
So, is there something, people add vanilla or people add little things, maybe coconut or some kind of extra flavor?
And they add decoration too.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is taken into account. So I take a look at the entire cake, the presentation, what the moisture level is, and how it compares with the other cakes who are in that contest.
So,
Yes.
and of course this is at the Oregon State Fair. What does the Oregon State Fair mean to you personally?
Well, it means a lot of history to me because as a youngster, I participated in the Oregon State Fair in the horse show. Horses were my hobby, and I entered my horse and entered hair contests with my girlfriend. And so the Oregon State Fair had a long and very warm history as far as I'm concerned.
So to be able to be a judge of this contest for 60 years at the Oregon State Fair, I mean, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to your family?
Well, it's a very historic thing that there's no other contest like that in the country. And it might be of interest for you to know that a very close friend of mine who lives in Australia and happens to be from a department store family as I was, heard about his friend in America judging chocolate cakes. So he got in touch with me and asked me for the details of the contest, how we judged it, how many entries there were, how many people we had. And the audience grew. In the early days there were a couple of hundred, and it was as many as 400 and 500. So they had a chocolate cake contest in Australia, and he copied all of it from what we did here in Salem, Oregon.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention about the contest or about chocolate cake so that we can all
But I
drool?
think it's a great thing to bring people together. When you have 400 or 500 people coming to watch a contest, it's by far the most popular contest at the fair. Well, that says something about what people think about the chocolate cake. So I think it's a great thing to bring Oregonians together. It's a great thing to show the expertise that people have in the kitchen. And it's a wonderful opportunity for me to get to know people from all over the state and indeed from all over the country. That we had people entering the cakes who were from neighboring areas as well.
Okay. Don't you ever get tired of it? Do you ever get tired of chocolate cake?
I
do you have
never
to
get
take a
tired
break?
of chocolate cake, but I have to say at the end of the fair day that I don't want to look at another chocolate cake for a sizable length of time. I take my Pepto-Bismol and go home.